We are almost at the end of the season. Next week is the finale of Alone, where we will see who out of our final three takes away the $500,000. Just let everybody know my power went out and I missed a few minutes of this episode. I'm not sure if I missed anything or not. 1 minute Alan was fishing and then the power went out and I had to wait for everything to come back on. So hopefully I didn't miss anything too important. But let's dive right into this episode. We'll start off with Wyatt. Mostly good episode for Wyatt until he had a little issue near the end of the episode. So we see him catch 2 fish in his gill net over the course of the episode. First was a decent sized whitefish that he was pretty pumped about, and then later on he caught a massive pike, which that could be the season winning fish as long as Wyatt doesn't burn down his shelter. We did see his chimney catch on fire during the night. He managed to put it out quite quickly, so disaster averted. But in the preview, looks like it catches on fire again, and don't know if he's going to be able to put it out a second time. In my opinion, he got pretty lucky being able to squelch that fire before it got out of control. And is he going to be able to do that twice? I just don't know. Burning your shelter down out of the question. Wyatt's in a great position. I believe they said he has 8 fillets stored. And that was before he caught that massive pike, which, probably is equivalent to, but that might almost double his food. That was a monster fish, that could just nearly double what he has stored to potentially push him a little further in the game. In my opinion, this is going to come down to Wyatt and Alan. They're the only two who are really participating at this point. I don't really know what Mikey's doing, but we'll get to that when we talk about Mikey. But let's jump over to Alan. He is down 53 pounds. He did a little bit of on-camera time with no shirt on, and he's looking pretty skinny, but not. I don't think he's close to like they'd medically pull him. Like, he looked skinny but fine. We've seen him say that he has enough food till about day 55 and thinks he could starve it out till day 60 or so. He caught another lake trout today, to potentially add another 2 days onto that. So everything considered, I think Alan's probably looking to make it to around the day 65 marker. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that or not, but that's just kind of my prediction. So in order to win, the other contestants are going to have to make it past that roughly 65-ish day marker. We also saw in the preview Alan out on the lake while it's frozen, and we ended this episode and he was still fishing in the lake like normal. So you got to think that if the weather doesn't take a nasty turn, that he still has a little bit of time on this show before he's going to be tapping out. As somebody who's been rooting for Alan from the start, that makes me excited. But back to his actual episode, he did catch a nice lake trout. Unfortunately, it had some weird white growths inside, which could be a sign of worms of some sort, tapeworms. He did decide to eat the fish, absolutely cook the fish to oblivion, and then eat it. Didn't see him have any problems. He did also cut himself while filleting the fish with weird growths in it. So things were not looking good right there for Alan. But he ate it. Didn't seem like he had any side effects to that. You know, if he does end up being something like a tapeworm, though, he might not just immediately get sick. That can be something that just lives inside and just kind of eats your food for you without you potentially even knowing. We also saw Alan drop his fishing spool in the water. He did manage to retrieve it, but while he's done great just casting from that spool all season long, he might be at a point where that's really not feasible anymore. We saw him getting cold, having to limit his fishing because his hands were getting too cold to properly cast and reel in. So, could be at a point where he needs a fishing rod, or he's going to have to hunker down until that lake freezes over. And we do see him in the previews on the lake while it's frozen, so we know that he's going to at least last that long. So we got to believe that Alan is going to at least finish top 2 this season. Lastly, Mikey, I'm just kind of over Mikey at this point. It's just him doing arts and crafts. Right at the start of the episode, he's doing arts and crafts. With the only real interesting thing that we learned about Mikey was that he's down 67 pounds since the start of the season. He came in weighing 300 pounds, which, doesn't really feel like it's in the spirit of the show to, come on with so much extra weight that you can just sit in your shelter for 70 days, do nothing besides whittle on your arts and crafts and eat a couple mice. That's not entertaining. It's not fun to watch. And I'd rather spend that time on Alan and Wyatt. I'd rather see what they're doing, 2 people who are out there, trying to survive. They're trying to do good in the show. They're trying to entertain us. Meanwhile, that's not why he's here. He's here to win the money and provide a better life for his kid. And he doesn't really care about the show. He just cares about, he cares about his kid. We've seen him talk nonstop about his son all season long. It was his birthday this episode, and he's just sitting out there suffering, trying to win that $500,000. And I'm not here for it. It's not interesting. It's not entertaining. I don't need to see him make a mortar and pestle. I don't need to see him stuff some mice and call them stuffed rats. The most interesting thing he did this episode was cooking up a batch of reindeer moss. And meanwhile, we've got Alan fishing, Wyatt with the gill net, Wyatt almost burning down his shelter, everything else we're seeing with the other 2. And Mikey, he hasn't even caught a fish this season. They're on this enormous, abundant lake. He didn't even catch one fish. It's ridiculous to me. And I think that we're at a point in Alone where the rules probably need to change. There maybe needs to be a weight loss, just a flat weight loss limit. If you lose 40 pounds, you're out. It would change the show drastically, because right now, all the contestants are gaining weight to be on the show. Just happens that Mikey happened to come on the show with 100 pounds to lose. And yeah, that makes for bad TV. It's not interesting. It's not fun to watch. And yeah, I hope that Mikey taps out soon so that we can actually watch 2 people who are in the game participating and want to win and have the skills to win. Really hope that we do get a showdown between Wyatt and Alan, because I think that would be a great way for this season to end. Canadian on Canadian, kind of in their home territory. They both, Alan's, I believe, is from northern BC. Wyatt from I believe Northern Ontario. I like that. It's like, as a Canadian as well, it's kind of like the battle of the two sides of Canada meeting in the middle and seeing who can last the longest. I want that showdown. I want that to be what the finale ends up being. Get Captain Arts and Crafts out of here. Get him on a boat. Get him back to his son, who he's missing so dearly, and let's battle this out between Wyatt and Alan. Really excited for the finale, sans Mikey. And can't wait to see who's going to take the crown. I think that this could go either way between Wyatt and Alan, and yeah, excited to see everything play out. So as always, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and until next week, I'm out.